Hi everyone, another science video from Pathfinder Tuition. So today, as I have actually shared previously, that right now is exam season, so we're going to focus on giving tips on how to prepare for examinations. So this video will be useful for not just primary school but even secondary school, JC, tertiary, because I find that science is a subject that will extend beyond just primary school. So when you learn about science, what are the things that you should be doing? What are the expectations of the science subject? Okay, all these are going to be applicable throughout when you're doing science and learning science. So I'm going to share 6 things about science. Hopefully this will help you to learn better in science and actually do very well for your examination. Okay, so the first thing about science is to make sure that you get your facts right. Okay, get your facts right. So this is something that you say, oh yeah, this one I also know, I need to get my facts right, and so on and so forth. But this is easy to say, but sometimes it's hard to do. Especially for question like cases like that where you look at this question, right? If I ask you to explain how would the battery help you to make a magnet, so this is something that from primary all the way to junior college you might be doing that. But sometimes when I talk to some of the JC students, there's even this confusion still that they did not know that actually, okay, what is the actually thing, right? Actually, the electricity does not pass through the nail. Okay, the electricity passes through the wire that's going around. So the thing is that, right, when I see sometimes students write their explanation, they will say that the nail is being magnetized because electricity passes through the nail. So this is something that, like I said, regardless of whether you are doing your PSLE or you're doing your A-level, there are still people making this mistake. Yeah, so it's quite surprising. Get your facts right. Okay, so make sure that you understand correctly that it is about passing through the nail. No, it's about passing through the wire, not passing through the nail. So the thing is that, right, you as a science student, you need to be very meticulous in your answer. You need to be very detailed. The thing is that when you talk about science exam especially, they catch all these small minor details that you are writing wrongly. And once you have written this wrongly, it changes the entire concept and understanding, then you are actually not going to get the mark 100%. So not saying that, oh, I write so much, I actually have put in so much effort in memorizing the so-called key solution, but you have never bothered to figure out what exactly is the proper phrasing. Okay, so one thing to remember is that get your facts right. Okay, and point number 2 is this. Science is about a lot of facts and figures. So the thing is that apart from getting your facts right, you might not want to be doing too much memorizing. I would say that when we talk about sciences, it's about understanding first. But then, of course, some people might not be able to understand no matter how much they study. So, because we are not all cut out to do science 100%. So, there are certain subjects or certain topics that you might find that you don't understand. So, what I would say is that, right, when you are learning or doing sciences, you might want to actively be looking out for connection, not facts. Because if you look at this picture that I have here, right, if you go and memorize only the key thing in the middle, that's only one thing to do. But you want to learn all these 7 boxes content, you will find that you have 7 things to remember. So in actual fact, you might not want to be remembering 7 things, but really remember that one thing. There are many interconnections between the facts. Like every topic, there are subtopics. So how are the subtopics being connected to your previous one? I would say do a mind map, try to find the connection, then before you put it down and then pen it down. Do not do a summary like this. I have students doing that. Point number 1, this is about maybe qualitative analysis, different color, cation, then after that anion, and so on and so forth. Or maybe you talk about kinematic in physics, you start listing down, or displacement is what, the velocity is what, and so on and so forth. So do not make a list of the things that you need to remember, but rather I would suggest that you find the connection, do a meaningful one. You don't need to have a lot of details, but just that when you need to look at the detail, right, then you go back to the textbook to read through again. But what I will say is that you need to remember things or understand things from a connection kind of point of view, not so much of point by point and then I have 10 things to remember. Then that is too much already. Any human being will not be able to do it. And of course, after you have done the fact checking and all these things, right, coming to the practice part, I would say is that you might want to do it separately, okay, one topic at a time. Because the thing is that, so I'm actually of course making an assumption that you are really not very good in sciences, so you want to get better. And then as a result of that, I will start by, once again, common mistake is that let's go to the school past year paper and start from there. So that is in fact the end point. That is not your start point. Remember, when you were learning sciences in school, was the first thing your teacher gave you the past year paper? No one. Past year paper is actually in fact the last thing that you are given. We do some time practice, time trial to gain speed and then gain competency. And of course, more importantly is that remember the connection between the topic. So you might want to do that as the last thing, not the first thing. Okay, so when you're doing practices, go back to locate at the different topic. So after you have learned one part of the chapter, you look for a question that is talking about this part of the chapter, and then you move on from there. And then eventually you want to go into the grouping kind of practice, which means to say that, right, now you look at the topic that are connected, and then after that you put them together, and eventually you answer a question based on that. So I would think that that will be the best way to learn. Even at my tuition center, when we plan the revision for the student, it's always, we will start on from individual topic first, after which we talk about the group as a whole, then after which we do time practice. But even for time practice, we're actually going to do part of the paper, not the full paper, to get a sense of how to manage your time, how to select the question that you think is better for you to do first. Yeah, so this is the process that you need to go through. And always remember that if let's say you start with practice paper immediately, the confusion is not because of the question. The confusion is because of your lack of understanding of the prior knowledge that you need, the previous topic. That they are all now being connected in the question itself. So it's like you need to make sure you know how to walk before you start doing a marathon. Okay, and of course, the next thing about science is that it's not about memorizing only. So one of the common misunderstandings is that, right, okay, I have 21 topics in the syllabus. I need to make sure I memorize all 21 well. So when I can do that, I can memorize the book from the front to the back. I will definitely get my A's. That is also not true. The thing about science is that it's about understanding the concept then applying to a question. So if you find that you are not able to understand all the topic to do that, then I would say that maybe out of 21 topic, how about you try to do 50% of it first? 10 topic, how about that? 10 topic is more manageable. Then after that, if you gain confidence already, then you want to do 15 topic next. Slowly move up the ladder. But if let's say 10 or 12 topic is your maximum, then stick with that. And then try to understand them and make sure that when it comes to the exam, these are the 10 topics I will gun for and I will be able to do very well in the questions. So never try to just memorize all 20 topics if you cannot. And of course, the understanding the concept is important. So you need to see how the content is being applied in the context of the question. So you still need to practice. Okay, that means to say after each topic, you go to the practice itself and see whether you understand, can you apply it. So it's really not about memorizing the solution. And of course, number 5 will be, right, think of a sequence, not just a list of facts. A lot of things that we use in, especially for sciences, when you explain, there's a sequence of events that must take place in order to get the final answer, to answer the final thing. But of course, at the end of the day, you might want to understand what the question is really asking you for you to do before you answer it. So like sequence of event will be, right, I think give a very common example. We talk about evaporation and condensation. So you have water vapor that's in the air. They are usually warmer, okay, relative to a surface. So surface, like for example, the glass surface could be cooler. So when the water vapor touches the surface, then it results in a loss of heat before a change of state. So there is actually a few things happening, right? This talk about temperature. It talks about a loss of heat. Then before we talk about the last thing, which is the change of state. You cannot go right into the change of state without explaining what are the things that must happen. There's a sequence of events. So it's like a story. I don't suppose you can watch episode 10 before you watch episode 1. Right? That should not be the order. So make sure you get the sequence right when you're doing sciences. Okay, and use fact to support your answer. There will be table, graph to help you to understand and explain. Okay, last but not least, this is extremely important as well. While science is not an English exam, but science is a word-based exam still. Most of the theory they require you English as the medium to answer the question. So the thing is that if you are going to give me a lot of grammatical error, spelling error, to make to the point that I cannot understand your words, I cannot understand your sentences, then I will certainly for sure is that you will not be able to be awarded any mark or not. So the thing is that you might not want to be too casual about the language as well. It's after all an examinations, national exam or school exam. You must take it seriously and make sure that the writing is easy to understand and is able to be comprehensible. Because if you have a lot of grammar error and not spelling error to the point that it becomes unable to decipher what exactly is going on, right, you will still be penalized. So this is something to remember, that it is not to be taken lightly. Yeah, a lot of students take it lightly. Sure, this one is not a English exam, so I think it's okay to have grammar error and spelling error. Anyway, you can understand, right? I just write that few letters, you can guess what that word is. So this is a no-no. I think language is something that you need to be very careful of, because one small difference in the word can change the entire understanding. Okay, so this is the 6 things about science examination that I want to share. And of course, if you find the video useful, please help me to like, subscribe to my channel, and then I will actually try to help by coming out with more of this video that will be useful for everyone in the future as well. So thank you for your attention. I will see you again in my next video.